We welcome everyone to this very important program of Prudence Ghazali program, wherein we are having featuring today the Rotary International's president, Rotarian K.R. Ravindran, who hails from Sri Lanka. So a very warm welcome to you on behalf of all the people of Goa and especially the Rotarians of District 3170.
Thank you. It's such a pleasure to be here in Goa, world famous Goa.
Thank you so much, and we welcome you once again. Friends, Rotary International is an organization that has its existence of almost about 110 years. And in this 110 years of its journey of service to mankind, we cannot certainly just bring it down to a few couple of minutes. But we are going to give you to listen to some of the glimpses from our Rotary International president of some of the very salient, wonderful, meaningful and purposeful projects that we have had over the years and in the recent past. Rotary in action. Sir, Rotary is being known for one of the best programs, and that is the Polio Plus program, which was an initiative along with the WHO as well as with the CDC and the UNICEF. We do know that we are almost nearing its end and a successful program. Could you tell us, apart from the success, what has been the challenges that Rotary International faced when we wanted to achieve this program?
Well, one correction I want to make. In addition to WHO, UNICEF, CDC, we also have the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, who are members. When we started off, we thought it was a simple matter of getting the vaccines into the child's mouth. So we calculated, all right, the rich countries are doing it anyway. The poor countries, these are the number of children, this is the amount of vaccines we need. You give 3 doses, the job is done. But as it turned out, we found that was far from the truth. And we've been at it now for 30 years almost, from the time we started. We've had situations, take India for example, we had problems with the demography, population pressures, problems with sanitation, problems with literacy, and at the initial stages, lack of political will to do this. Now these are all not challenges that Rotary can overcome overnight. You're dealing with various government officers, you're dealing with the country literally. So there it is. I mean, each one by itself is a serious, it's a back-breaking challenge, and it's full credit to us that we've been able to overcome all this. Then you move on, you are in Sri Lanka, the insurgency, the war going on. We had to actually negotiate with LTT leader Prabhakaran, tell him these are for children. Will you stop the war for 2 days to allow us to vaccinate? He in fact came back after a couple of weeks and said, yes, I'm willing to stop, but can you get your government to stop? So we said, yes, we can get the government to stop. That was a big challenge. Right now we are faced with the Taliban in Pakistan and Afghanistan. And that's a big challenge. But we are meeting it. We are beating it. You have issues in Syria where there's a breakout. We know that when there's a breakout or outbreak of polio, you as a doctor will know that we can deal with that. We have no problems. But when you can't access the place, how do you deal with it? And that's what is happening in Syria with ISIS and so on. So those are the challenges we face. They are not ordinary challenges. They are very serious ones. And I think it's credit to us that we've really been able to tackle those.
Very good. We really appreciate that part of it. What about the funding gap? How did you meet that as a challenge?
Oh, that's a big challenge by itself. I mean, the total project has cost us $11 billion. 11 billion. We have ourselves put in our cash of over 1 billion, almost $1.5 billion from Rotarians. The rest of the money has come from governments of the world, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and you see, UNICEF, WHO, they don't give money. They help you to run the whole program. They negotiate with the vaccine suppliers. They drive down prices. But the money itself has largely come from governments. Governments did not wake up one day and say, we have nothing to do, we have extra money, let's give it to polio. Governments did it because of our advocacy, because we lobbied them. We hired people in some cases to talk to Congress and so on. I mean, yesterday Congress sanctioned $220 million. So we have built up a network of people and connections with the various governments, and we persuaded them to come up with the funds.
Good. So could you also throw some light on, you must be having in the Rotary International something like a trust or a charitable trust or something like a foundation where the money goes in of all the Rotarians.
Okay.
Yeah. How does that work?
Well, we have really two parallel organizations. One is Rotary International, which runs on the subscription of members. So we have 1.25 million members. They pay subscriptions, and our job is to run the organization with the money they give us and find ways of advancing our cause through these members. Then we have the Rotary Foundation, which has only one shareholder, and that is Rotary International. Now, why do we have a separate foundation? Because of the tax laws. So the foundation only does not collect subscription, collects contributions, donations, grants, and we have the tax status there allows us to receive money without paying tax on it. Rotary International allows us to bring in subscriptions without paying tax on it, two different US laws. So when the money comes into the foundation, we have a separate independent qualified board of trustees. We have an arm's length relationship with Rotary International. In other words, Rotary International cannot use that money for our purposes of administration and so on. And the foundation is run as a separate philanthropic organization. It is run extremely well. It is rated as one of the 4-star philanthropies in the world by the Charity Navigator, which is the foremost agency which assesses these type of foundations. And very recently, CNBC voted the Rotary Foundation, I think, as number 4 or 5 out of 10 top foundations in the world.
Hats off to you, sir. That's wonderful that Rotary International has got yet another feather in its cap, and that talks about a lot on our integrity. What are the various programs that we have of the Rotary Foundation for the members and maybe for the community?
You know, Rotary Foundation has 6 areas of focus, which I won't go into now because each one is a lecture by itself. So we will grant money, what we call our global grants, to any club or district which is doing projects in that area. But you have to understand that the total money we give out is $150 or $200 million a year. But the work Rotarians do is valued at over $1 billion a year. $1 billion. And much of the time, they don't even take that money. They have their own fundraisers. They're working with partnership with others. I mean, there are Rotary clubs which are working with Coca-Cola, Rotary clubs working with several banks, Rotary clubs which work with some other telecom companies. With all these companies doing CSR, Rotary becomes a very handy partner to have because Rotarians like you and I work free of charge. Now, if they were to hire us, it's going to cost a lot of money. So it pays these companies to work with us because their return on investment or the IRR is very high, the ROI or IRR. So you're a business person, you want to maximize your reach. So foundation is only one aspect of the funding of our projects. And I think really that gives you a sort of a lift up. And after that, the clubs fly by themselves.
Could you throw some light also on these medical missions that the Rotarians have? We belong to, by our birth, I think we are fortunate that we belong to a country where we have access to good medicine. When people complain about government not doing this or doing that, I often think they should go and see some of the other countries in Africa and so on, where the situation is pretty bad. So we have teams led by senior Rotarians who would take $100,000 worth of medical supplies, fly in with orthopedic surgeons, with ophthalmologists, etc., and go and set up camp in some remote area and work for 10 days or 2 weeks doing surgeries. They do thousands of surgeries, from simple cataracts to more complex surgical procedures on your leg and so on. Now, you find, for example, I know several Indian teams which go into Africa. I also know situations where Rotarians from Italy, for example, they work with the Vatican to go into Cambodia, and they've set up
telemedicine. They've set up mobile camps. They go out and drive into the outbacks to treat people. And talking about Vatican, on the 30th of April, the Pope is giving St. Peter's Square just for Rotarians to do Mass. I hope all of you all will come.
That's really appreciable.
Yes, it's a very, very big thing for us.
Yeah. And during this process of the medical mission, is there also transferring of skills or development of skills into the doctors in these remote areas? So
I'm not, as I'm not a doctor, I can't answer that. I don't know whether in that little piece of time they can really do that. But they certainly transfer skills to theatre nurses and, the less
the
skilled-
paramedics and the ancillary
That's
staff.
right, that's right.
Okay. How do you become a member of the Rotary Club? Is it that anybody can become a member of the Rotary Club, or is it?
Well, first of all, you need to be invited.